Of course, some bad blood between the two clubs after Forest controversially took Palace's spot in the Europa League this season. Adam, let's start with you. Do you see this as a big game? Are you bothered at all about what Forest did to boot Palace out of the Europa League?
Morning, first of all. I don't see it as bad blood personally. It was strictly business. This is nothing to do with Forest, although we got our names dragged out into it, which we could have stayed out of it. We could have stayed out of it. I don't think the outcome would have been any different. And there's no bad blood between ourselves and Crystal Palace, as far as I know. I think between supporters there may well be. I think Marinakis' name might be mentioned more times than any player on the pitch on Sunday.
Do you think those boardrooms like each other? What do you think it's going to be like, off the pitch for this game?
I don't know. Like that's between Steve Parish and Evangelos Marinakis at the end of the day, and John Textor, who I think Palace fans will have heavily blamed for what's gone on. Steve Parish has got to take some responsibility in all of this as well, but also UEFA's governing body and their rules are a little bit all over the shop as well at the same sort of time. It is unfair that on supporters, especially, that Crystal Palace are going to miss out going to Europe.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, Nottingham Forest aren't going to turn around and say to Crystal Palace, well, you have this opportunity to go in and we'll play in the Conference League. It's just it's not how it works in football, and you know that best, Dara.
Sure.
Ollie, Adam there pointing the finger squarely at Steve Parish and John Textor. Would you go along with that?
Not with Steve Parish. John Textor definitely, and as Adam said, I think we'll hear a lot from the Palace fans on Sunday about Textor, UEFA and Marinakis in the form of a chant, which we were singing relentlessly last night. I do think also, I get from Adam's tip that Forest have no reason to dislike Palace in this situation other than the fact that they've been embroiled in this thing with us and UEFA. I do think they will be surprised at how much Palace hate them at the moment, I think. and that's not necessarily because of Forest fans or whatever, but we obviously feel a sense of injustice about what happened with UEFA, and you kind of look to blame whoever. And I think it's undeniable that Forest have been involved in some capacity, hence why Marinakis and Parish have kind of been at each other. And, Forest had lawyers in CAS a couple of weeks ago. So I think it will be a bit tastier than people might think.
You think Forest basically, played the role of the bad guy in this? They had lawyers at the ready, making sure they were getting that spot protected.
Possibly. I don't want to speculate too much.
You just did.
We were named in this case, so we had to send legal representation because we were named in this case. So this whole letter thing to UEFA is a load of nonsense, because Crystal Palace were already getting looked into a week before this even happened.
Sure.
I don't think a letter to UEFA would have deterred them from not looking into it, because they're a governing body. They already kicked out several other clubs because of an MCO.
I agree with that.
It is what it is. Like, it's not Forest's fault.
Adam, I have to say, speaking from just other fans, neutral fans, Ollie used the words sense of injustice. I think a lot of neutrals feel a sense of injustice as well, and they would have loved to have seen Crystal Palace be allowed to play in the Europa League this season. Do you get the impression from speaking to other fans of other clubs that Nottingham Forest have been sort of painted out as the bad boys in all this?
Yeah, I mean, we've become the most hated team this summer, haven't we? Crystal Palace and Tottenham absolutely love us. To be fair, I don't care.
Stood in the way of Morgan Gibbs-White dream move to Spurs as well. Disgraceful.
I mean, let's face it, right? Marinakis is a prickly sort of character. I'm not going to deny that, but you can't deny his passion and his ambition.
Owner. I have to say, he's a great owner. He gets a lot of criticism, and there's those shots of him on the pitch, and there's all of that going on. But I mean, that guy has backed that football club. You ask Sheffield Wednesday fans if they'd love him as an owner right about now.
Can I just read you a stat that I got this morning? So it's 1,112 days since we got back into the Premier League and kicked off against Newcastle at St James's. Only 2 of them players are still in our squad from that day, and Nico Williams is the only starter. We are now playing European football 3 years later. That is down to one man and one man only, and that is Marinakis. Whether you love him or hate him, whether he kept Gibbs-White from going to Tottenham, Daniel Levy did not meet the guideline of this release clause. And then he's also fluffed the lines with Eberechi Eze, and now he's going to their biggest rivals. Daniel Levy is a massive problem for Tottenham. And I know we're talking about Forest and Palace, but also, like, Marinakis is king. Love him or hate him, he's king.
No, I'm not having that. I'm not having that as the final line to end on. I've got...
Do we even do it, by the way, boys?
You're not having what? Tell us why you're not having that Marinakis being king.
The line Marinakis is king.
In Nottingham, he is.
I had to interject before we carried on, moving on to something else.
Do we even know yet if he's showing his face at Selhurst Park?
Well, have you seen that video of him walking on the pitch at Panathinaikos, who are the biggest rivals in Greece? And I don't want to go to watch football in Greece because that looks mental. He does not care about Crystal Palace ultras. I'm sorry, Ollie, he's not going to be that bothered.
No, I'm not saying that he's going to get that anything bad's going to happen to him, but I think if he is visible to any fans, I think he's going to get pelters. He's going to get absolute pelters.
I don't think he cares.
No, he probably doesn't.
Ollie, I don't think he cares either.
Just to bring it back to last night, and it was 1-0. It should have been more. Palace absolutely battered Fredrikstad. Hopefully it doesn't come back to bite them next week in Norway. But the way that Oliver Glasner now needs to frame this is, look, we're in the Conference League. There is absolutely no reason that we can't go and win this competition.
Exactly. I mean, the best case scenario, including being in the Europa League this season, is going into the Conference League, winning the Conference League, and then qualifying for the Europa League next year. Because then you get 2 years of Europe and you get a trophy out of it. You're right. There is no reason why we can't go and win that competition. I do worry a little bit because I think yesterday showed our issues breaking down teams who sit in, and there's going to be a lot of that, especially if we qualify and we go into the group stage. But I think we need to use that sense of injustice to galvanise us. And the atmosphere was really good last night, despite the whole surrounding noise and the fact it was only a playoff game. The atmosphere was actually a lot better than I thought it would be. And I think us as a club have got to just group together and the best way to fight the injustice is to win the competition.
And of course, you wish Adam and all Forest fans the best of luck in the Europa League as well.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, as a fan of the current Europa League champions, best of luck to you, Adam, as well. I really hope Morgan Gibbs-White gets to taste some silverware this season. Thank you very much, boys, for joining us this morning, and enjoy the game at the weekend.